John here, and back with another review, and today talking about and discussing John Wick Chapter 2. And, great sequel. I saw this in the theater when it came out, and it was a great experience. And like I said, I wish I saw the first one when that came out, but I did see this, and had a great time. And looking at some of the features here is interesting. I didn't even talk about the features for the first movie, but up here you have deleted scenes, the unexpected success of John Wick. You get a featurette on that. Training John Wick, the Keanu-Chad partnership, featurette on the collaboration between Keanu and the director, the underworld of John Wick, Carfu ride along, evolution of a fight scene, Wick's toolbox. You have a kill count, and you do have audio commentary by Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski, which now I want to go back and check out that commentary. So again, some interesting features. But like I said, a great sequel. And the thing is with these films, it seems like, how I talk about with the first film, it was a great springboard for that character and, this franchise. And it seems like with each film, with this film, it definitely took it up a notch. And by the third film, it took it up several notches. But the story here is real simple. You have John Wick, once again played by Keanu Reeves, and he wants to go back to the quiet life. But you have this villain, or character, this character in the film, Santino D'Antonio. He brings John Wick this marker that John Wick had made. Even though John Wick, he wants out, but he has to, abide by this marker to, repay past favors. And then from there, after they blew up his house, because, he has to follow the marker, he goes to, and McShane's character at the Continental, and McShane's character Winston tells John Wick that, you have to follow the code, so to speak. So that's when he takes the assignment from Santino to go to Rome to assassinate his sister. So John Wick travels to Rome and, kills Santino's sister. And then when he comes back home to New York, that's when Santino puts a contract out on John Wick. So you have these different assassins and, killers that are trying to take out John Wick, and that's pretty much a story. Again, simple, straightforward. And again, it's just a great kick-ass movie. The cast. I mean, again, you have Keanu back as John Wick, and once again kicks ass. Great performance. And, and Keanu's kick-ass as his character. You have some new faces in here. You have Laurence Fishburne. His character is the Bowery King, which, of course, they did the Matrix films, and you're kind of thinking, man, okay, you got Laurence Fishburne in here. When's Hugo Weaving going to show up? It's one of those things that it's like you worry about it at first because, they work together, on, like, they did 3 of those Matrix films. But still, Laurence Fishburne, plays a great character here as the Bowery King, this sort of underground, kingpin type character. Then you have, John Leguizamo. He comes back for a little bit in the beginning. And that's the thing with the third film that, again, is a nitpick. I wish he was in that. I wish that John Leguizamo's character would come back, but he returns in here for a little bit as John Wick's friend, this mechanic in the beginning. The villain, Santino, is played by, I'm going to get this actor's name right, Riccardo Scamarcio. And I hope I said it right, but, the villain itself, this actor, he did okay. He's okay in the film. Not the greatest villain or actor that you could have gotten for, this character, but he did okay. You have Ruby Rose in this film as this assassin who works with Santino, and she's deaf. And believe it or not, people are going to laugh at this, but this is the first, sort of my first exposure to Ruby Rose, and I legit thought she was deaf. I know that's funny, but I thought, okay, they got a deaf actress to play. She did a good job, not knowing that she was in that, series Orange, which it was Orange That Is New Black or whatever. I never seen that show. I know she was in that prison show now at this point. I know she's Batwoman. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of Ruby Rose before, prior to this film, or that she was in that show. Was it Orange Is the New Black? I've never seen an episode of that, so I thought she was deaf when I saw this movie. I'm like, okay, she did a good job, But, I know it seems like Ruby Rose, gets crap, for the Batwoman stuff, what she said with that. But I didn't mind her here. Again, I thought she was good in the film. You have McShane, his character. He comes back as Winston, does a good job once again. And you have Common. I forgot about that character. Just getting my notes up. But, his character right here, Cassian, which you kind of sense that, this isn't the first time, that him and John Wick have, crossed paths, because, after John Wick kills Santino's sister, that's when they see each other in this concert, and Cassian's like, "You working again?" And John Wick's like, "Yeah." And, that's when they have a little shootout right there. But I'll talk about the action. But Common was great. I forgot, when I did my review of Street Kings, he was in Street Kings, and I forgot to mention that. Common. But he was in that. I think he was one of the guys that kills Chris Evans. But again, I thought Common was great here as this character Cassian. David Patrick Kelly shows up in one scene, I believe, as the cleaner character. You also have Peter Stormare. I forgot about that. I had to look up just to remind me. But the film opens up, with John Wick, is trying to get his car back because the car had been, I guess it's like this chop shop place. And Peter Stormare, his character runs this chop shop. And that's when John Wick goes in there to get his car back, and he kicks ass. And when your film opens up, your film opens up with a great action scene and this shop, this car shop. I don't know if it's a chop shop, but it's a, car shop or like a taxi place. And, John Wick is kicking ass, taking names. And I like some of the dialogue here from Peter Stormare. I should have pulled up some quotes here. But let me see. I don't know, just some of the lines that Peter Stormare has in the film. Everything that's been said about John Wick has been watered down. I mean, you can look up some of the lines from the film, but Peter Stormare, he was Satan and Constantine, and he comes back here in this little part in the beginning of the film. So it was nice to see him in the in the film. And the actress that plays Santino's sister, she's in it for a little bit. She's not in it too much. Her name is Claudia Girini. She was fine. Lance Riddick, who plays the hotel manager character, he comes back, of course, and he's great once again. And it's definitely given more to do by the third film. Great cast once again. Wonderful direction by Chad Stahelski. And, really, expanding on, more of this character and this world. And, And like I said, he definitely took it up a notch, with this film. And, which you would get more action, uh, in the film. But yeah, Chad Stahelski, like I said, being a stunt player, stunt man, he definitely brings great knowledge to, you know, putting together these action scenes that are well shot, no shaky cam, no erratic, camera work, no quick cuts. It's all, you know, in one shot, and you can understand what's happening. You can understand what's going on. And it's almost like a video game. I don't know if I mentioned that in my review of the first film, but the way stuff is and the action is put together, it's almost video game-esque. And yeah, I just really enjoy the action. And great action. I mean, again, the film kicks off where John Wick is trying to get his car back, and the shop, and Peter Stormare's there, and you have a scene where it's some fight scenes in the beginning, and then later on, when he goes to Rome, he gets, these tries out these different suits, and I like how, they sort of set up to where, he's mapping out, planning this attack. Well, not attack, but he has like blueprints of the area, and he tries on different suits, and you have this one weapons guy that here, try this weapon out. And then you got the scene where he sets up weapons in the catacombs. And later, the bad guys, where John Wick had killed the sister. And you got some shootouts at this concert, which leads into the catacomb scenes, which are great. And that was great to see in the theater. The action scenes in the catacombs where it's just constant gunplay and, again, well shot. And, then coming back to New York where everyone is out for John Wick's head. And it's like everywhere he turns, there's an assassin. There's a lady over here playing this violin. And she's trying to kill John Wick. You have this big sumo guy. And he's going after John Wick. And that was a crazy scene because he pushes John Wick through like a piece of glass. And John Wick is trying to take him out. And it takes like 10, 12 shots. I don't know why my nose is itching. But, and I like how that scene is filmed because it's kind of like a montage of these different assassins that are trying to take out John Wick. And I like the way that it's edited together. And then you have a great scene where, he kills this guy with a pencil at this bar. And he has him down like this and he shoves that pencil right in there. It's like, oh, man, It's just, again, all well-shot stuff. And then I forgot about the scene where, Cassian, Common's character, is trying to kill John Wick at this, train station or whatever. And they're kind of shooting each other like this. Cassian's up there, and they're using compressors. And they're shooting each other like that, and I like the way that's shot. And, of course, you got a little fight scene on the train between Cassian and John Wick. Consider this a professional courtesy. And stabs him right in the aorta. So, and, of course, that leads to getting to the end of the film, the last 30 minutes, the museum, the reflections of the soul, museum where, John Wick goes into this room and you just have a bunch of mirrors around, and definitely influenced by Enter the Dragon, which the director says right here that Chad Stahelski, this is one of the first ideas that he had for the film, was to recreate the climactic mirror room fight scene, influenced by Enter the Dragon. So he caps off his film with a fight sequence inside a museum exhibit made of shifting, shimmering mirrors. It's a bullet-happy nod to Enter the Dragon, and also reminiscent of the maze scene and The Man with the Golden Gun. So, yeah, like I said, definitely, influenced by that. And I love the way that museum, damn, uh, the reflections of the soul museum looks and the mirrors that are shifting around and the different colors. It's just really cool to look at. And again, it was definitely great to watch. And I'm glad I saw this in the theater. But again, that whole 30, like the whole, and, you know, which, by the end of the film, he kills Santino. But, just the whole ending within the museum with the reflections of the soul. And again, with the mirrors that are shifting around. And again, just really cool to look at and wonderfully shot. And then, like I said, I was about to mention, that's when Santino goes to the Continental for refuge, but John Wick kills him anyway, which he's not, he can't do. You can't, kill on Continental grounds. So, he shoots Santino in the head. And from there, excommunicado, John Wick has to, has 1 hour, to get on the run, so to speak, before everyone is out for, John Wick's head. But I know I'm kind of going all over the place. But again, the action is well shot, great direction, and again, well edited. And yeah, I mean, great song, like great music. Once again, great use of music, especially during the concert sequences. And yeah, I mean, Ruby Rose, her getting her comeuppance and the museum scene. And then, like, even before that, I mean, you have a lot of great gunplay, leading up to the museum scene, which I forgot to mention. And just John Wick kicking ass. So, yeah, I mean, John Wick 2, overall, and I forgot, to mention a little bit more about the Bowery King, because, I forgot to mention, he has some fun lines in here as well. And, once again, they have good chemistry, John Wick and the Bowery King. But, again, Bowery King is a sort of like this underground kingpin character. And he's like, as I live and breathe, John Wick, the man, the myth, the legend. You're not very good at retiring. And John Wick's like, I'm working on it. And I'm just scrolling through the quotes here. And, because he had, the boogeyman and John Wick, they have met before. And John Wick almost killed the Bowery King. And he's like, he showed, to remind John Wick of a scar that, Wick gave him. He's like, a gift from the boogeyman. Perfect for every occasion. And then you got that one moment where the Bowery King's like, he's offered $7 million for your life. $7 million. This is a lot of money, Mr. Wick. So I guess you have a choice. You want a war? Or do you just want to give me a gun? And Laurence Fishburne's like, somebody please get this man a gun. And again, just fun interaction between those two actors. So I like the introduction of the Bowery King, and it's like, it's, yeah, they did the Matrix films, but, it worked once again here. But overall, John Wick Chapter 2, and maybe I'm going all over the place because I'm just gushing over these films. But, yeah, great sequel. Definitely, like I said, took it up a notch, between the introduction of new characters and, from the Bowery King and, these different assassins from, Common's character in the film, Ruby Rose. Yeah, the villain that played Santino, like I said, he's okay. Not the greatest. He did okay in the film. But to me, again, Keanu Reeves is great once again. The action, they really, definitely took it up a notch. I mean, the film opens with an action scene, and then you got a lot of great action in the middle, and a lot of great action in the end, in the museum, scene, and the shifting of the mirrors, really cool stuff. And it's just a really cool sequel, and definitely entertaining. And again, maybe, like I said, I know I probably went all over the place with this review, but I was trying to talk about as much as I can because I love the film. So, yeah, John Wick Chapter 2, great movie. And next up, talking about and discussing John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you later.